What would you do if the fate of your people depended on a single battle? What if that battle were against a giant almost 3 meters tall, clad in bronze, trained to kill since his youth? This is the true story of a young shepherd, armed only with his faith and a sling, who faced the most feared warrior of his time. A story that changed the course of Israel. A story that proved you don't win a war with sword or spear but with the power of God. The Philistines assembled their armies for war and camped at Soko. In Judah, they pitched their tents between Soko and Azekah at Ephes Dammim. Saul and the men of Israel also assembled. They camped in the valley of Elah and lined up for battle. Against the Philistines were on one hill and Israel on another, with the valley between them. Then a champion named Goliath of Gath came out from the Philistine camp. He stood about 6 cubits and a span tall. He wore a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze, weighing 5,000 shekels. He had bronze greaves on his legs and a bronze javelin slung between his shoulders. The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's rod, and its head weighed 600 shekels of iron. A shield bearer went before him. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight with me and kill me, we will become your servants. But if I overcome him and kill him, you shall be our servants and serve us." Then he said, "I defy the ranks of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together." When Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. David was the son of Jesse of Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons. David was the youngest, and his 3 oldest brothers were in Saul's army. David was sent by Jesse in the morning to check on his brothers and bring back news from the battlefield. He came and left his baggage with the keeper of supplies, ran to the ranks, and greeted his brothers as he talked with them. Goliath, as was his custom, came out and spoke the same words. David heard him. All the men of Israel went out to the camp, dismayed. David asked, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?" Brother, sister, if this story is touching your heart, if you feel the Word of God should go further, I humbly invite you to join us in this mission. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, leave your comment of faith, and share this story with someone who needs it. Every click, every gesture is a seed that helps bring the eternal message of the Bible into more homes, more hearts, more lives. Thank you for being part of this work, which is not ours, but God's. Let us keep proclaiming His truth together. David's words were heard by King Saul, and he sent for him. David said, "Let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight with this Philistine." Saul said to David, "You are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth." But David said to Saul, "Your servant has struck down both lion and bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, for he has defied the armies of the living God." Then David said, "The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." And Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." Saul clothed David with his armor and put a bronze helmet on his head. Also, he clothed him with scale armor. David fastened his sword over his armor and tried to walk, for he had not tested them. David said to Saul, "I cannot walk with these, for I am not accustomed to them." So David took them off. Then he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones from the brook and put them in a shepherd's bag, in a pouch which he had, and his sling was in his hand. He drew near to the Philistine. The Philistine came on and drew near to David, and David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet the Philistine. The Philistine looked at David with contempt. He saw that David was only a youth, ruddy and handsome in appearance. And the Philistine said to David, "Am I a dog, that you come to me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. "Yes, I come to you with a stick." And the Philistine said, "And I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you and take your head from you. And I will give the dead bodies of the camp of the Philistines this day to the birds of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel." So when the Philistine looked out and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth. And the Philistine said to David, "Come to me, and I'll give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field." When David had taken a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine in his forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the earth. Then David ran and stood over him, took his sword, drew it out of its sheath, and killed him. He cut off his head with it. So when the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. Then the men of Israel and Judah arose with a shout and pursued the Philistines as far as the entrance of the valley and to the gates of Ekron. So when the Philistine looked out and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth. And the Philistine said to David, "Come to me, and I'll give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field." When David had taken a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine in his forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the earth. Then David ran and stood over him, took his sword, drew it out of its sheath, and killed him. He cut off his head with it. So when the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. Then the men of Israel and Judah arose with a shout and pursued the Philistines as far as the entrance of the valley and to the gates of Ekron.